So, one of the most interesting features that I've discovered on my phone over the past, I'd say, week now is focus mode. And it's been of a huge benefit in terms of productivity. I wanted to open up with that because that kind of like forecasts like the way that my life has been over the past week or so, maybe a little bit more. I'm realizing that for a very long time, I have prioritized the wrong things. And it's easy to prioritize the wrong things when you've been used to giving your awareness and your energy to the wrong things, right? If your intention is to create something and you're pursuing something else, then you're giving your attention and your energy to the wrong things. it's, it's very simple. It's very straightforward. But what I think is so interesting about where I am is that I know exactly what I need for myself now moving forward, and it's just so interesting how this has kind of like developed from that day when I had that awakening, and like my life has changed drastically since then, and that was like a week ago. It's so interesting how things can shape your experiences of life, and I'm realizing now like what it is that I need for myself and what I'm going to do to achieve what it is that I need. um, I've needed to bring my energy back to myself far more than I even realized before, right? um, to create what it is that I'm trying to create, I need to be so grounded in putting myself first. The way that I previously lived life was that I would put everything else and everyone else first before my own wants and needs. And of course, that goes back to trauma. But the way that I'm approaching life now is what does Chris want and need first? And then whatever I can give to other people is what I can do for them. But it's so interesting to be here. It really is. I'm at such an interesting point in my life where, I'm realizing that I've just had it. I don't want to label it as like backwards or anything, but I've had it a whole different way this entire time, and to have that realized now, I think it all comes down to awareness, right? Your life is going to look a certain way, and if you're not aware of the way that it looks when, or if you're not aware of what's causing it to look the way that it does when it's not going well, you're going to have a very hard time with life. You're going to have a very hard time navigating. And so that's what I've come to realize, and it's just like I know what I need for myself now, there's not, and also like I've put my attention and energy, and overall awareness into things that have been completely out of my control. By the way, if I sound kind of weird, I slightly lost my voice for like a day, um, and it's kind of like coming back, but it sounds kind of weird. So it's just interesting. Um, but yeah, something that I've been sitting on recently is like, you know, it's not going to happen unless something is done about it. And that's just the way that it is. And another thing that I've been sitting on is, like if you show up every single day, even if it's just, 5 minutes or whatever it is, it's going to happen. Whatever it is that, you're trying to create, it's going to happen. It's so interesting to be here. It's so interesting to be here. I've come a long way, and I'm so excited to see how this continues to unfold because I know that this is going to be amazing. I know that my life is going to be amazing. Um, I'm in processes, developing, further evolving, and just watching kind of like old ways that have been die out and new ways that are coming in unfold for me. And yeah, it's so interesting because I would argue, no, this is definitely not the hardest point in my life. This is the coolest point in my life ever. um, but I would argue that, like, I don't know. I'm so much more present now with life. I'm so much more present. I'm so much more aware. I'm so much more creative than I've ever been in my life. And just everything is falling into place in such a beautiful way. Something that I've come to learn over the past, I'd say, I don't know, few months now, is that trying to control or force something, it's not going to fucking work. And it's that simple. And the more you try to force or control something, the more out of control it gets. You know how, like, when you hold on to something, or you pick something up that's slippery, right? And you're trying to control your grip on it, right? That's a really important, that's a really good and important metaphor for, like, force and control, you know, because, like, it's slippery, and your ability to maintain, this is really weird, excuse me, your ability to maintain a strong hold on that is going to be jeopardized because it's slippery. But that fact that it's slippery is there to tell you something. Let go of it. Stop trying to control it. Stop trying to force it. Stop trying to hold it. Many of us have been conditioned by things that, like, have conditioned us to believe that we need to force and control things, and this usually comes down to safety. But the more that we try to force and control things, the more out of control things become. So when you just let go, like when you just surrender. This is why the experience that I had the other day was so magical. It was because, you know, there were narratives running through my head of how things were supposed to be, how it was supposed to be, how the moment was supposed to be. And when I just when I just surrendered to what was, instead of trying to follow the narrative of what should have been or what was supposed to be, this deeper level of stillness and peace just set in. It just downloaded itself into my being. And it was so magical. So yeah, I'm sure that there are going to be more insights to explore on behalf of this experience, and I'm just excited to explore them.